All right, everyone, this is Nova Central coming back at you with another YouTube video, and I'm going to make this video pretty short today. I want to talk about the missing piece in Florida State's recruiting cycle. I think that is Conrad Hussey. He is a four-star safety, Penn State commit from St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale, and he's a guy that Florida State's been coveting for quite some time. The problem is he hasn't really visited since June, so you're trying to find ways to officially get him on campus. And you finally did it this past weekend when he officially visited Florida State's campus. And the good news is he really hasn't visited Penn State either. The interest is there, but the problem is it's so far away that you really don't know what's going to go on there. He likes Florida State a lot. Florida State was his dream school growing up. There was a lot of different connections that were put in place there, but the problem was his schedule wasn't the greatest in the world trying to navigate through all the processes with that. Plus, Florida State has KJ Kirkland from Raines High School in Jacksonville, Florida. You also have Jabril Riles as well from the Pensacola area. He's another three-star cornerback that you have. And then you have Quindarius Jones, who I think can play cornerback or safety. I primarily view him as a safety. You just kind of look at that from the Mississippi area. You look at those three guys, and I think there's efficient level of production there, but I think they want to add more. You see a Jamie Robinson that's probably not going to be coming back after this season coming up. As we know, the bowl game is probably going to be his last game of his Florida State career, but what a remarkable career it's been for Jamie Robinson. Hakeem Dent hasn't really announced that he's going back for the 23 season, but I do expect him to come back. The cornerback position is kind of a sketchy situation, I guess you could say. Renato Green was probably the best corner you've had this past season. Marion Cooper's kind of taken a step back a little bit in terms of production. Hopefully he gets back on the right track. You got a Kevin Knowles that was kind of productive here and there. It was kind of more inconsistent play. Jarian Jones was solid as a reserve and kind of growing confidence later on in the season. He's coming back with the Battles in Collective. You got some other guys there as well, but you had Azaria Thomas, who I think is showing flashes. But then you lost to Sam McCall that you were going to kind of plan over to play that safety position. He entered the transfer portal and is probably going to be going elsewhere. You're trying to find ways to flip that room and be a productive skill set, because even though Florida State was number one in the ACC in pass defense, and I think the top 10 in the country in pass defense, that cornerback position was something that Florida State really struggled in. And now that you're losing your best safety that can also play a multitude of positions in Jamie Robinson, the safety position is now at a pivotal point. And I think Florida State wants to add as many defensive backs as they can. They've already got three committed to the class. You're looking at Devontae Brown, at Damari Brown, his younger brother. You're looking at Edwin Joseph and even Conrad Hussey, who I think is going to be a really good piece as well. You're trying to factor in who is going to be in this class. Are they going to take five defensive backs? And I definitely do think they take five defensive backs here. I think that they're going to probably take Devontae Brown because he is a veteran option on UCF that has solid PFF grades, about a 75 range or so. The biggest thing with him, speaking through some of the context that I have with him, was consistency. I think the biggest thing with him was staying healthy, being everything was there. But they really liked what they saw. As soon as he entered the transfer portal, they offered him early on, and Florida State really liked what they saw. Official visit came on, and he's very businesslike, just like Jaheim Bell, as we saw, who committed to Florida State recently. I think this is a situation where Florida State can really sweeten the pot with giving him an opportunity to be successful. And we've had a couple of defensive backs that you can kind of turn to, maybe a Smoke Bowie from the Texas A&M transfer. I don't really think Florida State's going to be too involved with that. I think they want more experience options. But I think if they did take another recruit, I think Conrad Hussey would definitely be at the top of their list. Edwin Joseph is another guy I think can play the defensive backfield position. I think Florida State really sits in a really good spot with him. And that leads to the question, would you take six defensive backs? And I think Florida State definitely would to transform that room. You got a guy like Conrad Hussey that's coming from the St. Thomas Aquinas area that's got about 6 interceptions, about 80 total tackles in his career so far. Very instinctual to the ball. Tackles well in space also as a safety, surprisingly. Some view him as a corner a little bit, but I view him more as a safety more than anything. I think Florida State could get into a situation where everything is kind of falling into their lap perfectly, kind of like Azaria Thomas did in the last recruiting cycle. And I think Florida State, as of right now, I think Florida State leads for him, and I think he will end up signing with Florida State as early signing period comes on December 21st. And that would be a massive gift for Mike Norvell as they continue to elevate that defensive backfield room and getting back to that DBU standard at Florida State, or at least considered one of the DBUs at that point. But I hope each and every one of you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like the video, comment your thoughts, subscribe to the channel. I'm about 200 subscribers away from 2,000, so that's very important to me to get that milestone. I'm going to consistently put out daily content as much as I can, and I really do appreciate all the love and the support from everyone. And as always, go Noles.